What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Across the Board, sponsored by MoneyBall Metrics. You have myself, Alpha Dog Bets, here with Ben from We Beat the Spread. Nobody panic. Nobody freak out. We still have JD. We still have Jammer. They will be joining us in just a few moments. But as we always do on the show, it's a Friday. We have MMA with me and Ben. So, Ben, before we dive into that, just asking, how you doing today?
Doing good today. Had a good night of football last night. Almost swept the board, but went 4-1 in football, so can't complain at all. It was a pretty good night overall.
Yeah, I had a big night myself, so I'm glad to hear that. We'll go over our full recap of the slate when we see the boys in just a little bit, but before they come on here, it is about that time that we dive right in to the UFC/MMA with Ben. Ben, I'm excited to dive into this weekend's card. Pretty decent slate. Main event, you have any action? What do you like in this week's UFC?
I do have some action on the main event. I do think I wasn't shocked when I saw this line. It opened at like minus 500 for Carlos Prates because he's obviously looking like one of the better striking prospects we have in the UFC right now at welterweight. He's also really tall for the division. I think he's used his reach to his advantage. He knocked out Li Jingliang. Very, very good performance last time out. However, I think this line has gotten a little bit out of control, just a little bit. I do think he probably wins, and he probably wins early. But the over 1.5 rounds is like minus 130. I don't hate that just because he's in there for the first time in what could be a 5-round fight. This is his first main event. He's only technically 3 UFC fights deep. I don't think he's going to go out there and try and take his head off. I don't, because he's up against the best competition he's ever have faced so far. Neil Magny is not a slouch. I understand he's getting a little bit older. He did get knocked out against Mike Morales last time out. But this is still Neil Magny, and he's honestly got an even longer reach advantage. He has an 80-inch reach, he has a 2-inch reach advantage with an 80-inch reach to Prates' 78 inches. I don't think he's going to try and just go out there and take his head off. However, we've never seen him in a 5-round fight, so I think Magny, with more 5-round experience, will actually kind of come on as the fight goes along. And if this gets into the championship rounds, I don't think there's necessarily an angle where Neil Magny can't win this fight. So if you're going to give me plus 550 for him, I'm going to take a stab at that. And actually, Neil Magny is plus 1,100 to win by decision. If this fight gets into rounds 4 and 5, I think Magny can win those rounds, which means if he wins one of the first 3 rounds somehow, he takes home on a plus 1,100 by decision prop. So that's actually, I don't hate taking that at all for the price that it's at in the main event.
I don't mind that at all. That definitely seems like a good one to me. Interesting card here. No action for me on it quite yet. I will dive in more tomorrow, but right now, still nothing for me. Any other fights, any other plays you want to break down before we get into the NFL slate?
There is another one. It's going to be literally one of my favorite bets whenever I see this guy fight. Gerald Meerschaert by submission, plus 600. He's fighting a decent prospect who's coming in, Rainier de Ritter, who's coming in from 1 championship. He was a 2-division champion over there, and he is actually a submission guy. He can get knockouts, but he has 11 submission victories and only 17 career wins. So I think he's going to get a little overconfident with one of the best grapplers the UFC has ever seen. Of Meerschaert's 21 UFC fights, he's won 11 of them, and almost all of them were by submission. This guy is a submission machine. His last 8 fights have all come by submission. He's so good on the ground that I think Ritter's going to get a little overconfident if he's not just striking on the feet. And he might shoot for a takedown and be in a world of trouble. So if you're going to give me plus 600 on I keep saying Magny, Meerschaert by submission, I'm going to absolutely take that all day. I think it's a great prop when the guy literally pretty much only wins by submission. And you're getting a great price because Ritter to win by submission is like plus 190. Which doesn't make much sense to me because he's a great grappler, but we haven't seen him against top tier UFC competition. He's been submitting guys in 1 and on other regional scenes. Like he's in the UFC now, and he's facing probably the best grappler at least in the division, maybe in the whole entire sport.
Yeah, I mean, you take a look at how GM3 Meerschaert has done recently. Let's count how many wins in a row are via submission. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. His last 9 wins have all been via submission, so I definitely think that's a great angle to find on that. Definitely some value, some big plus money, so I'm definitely going to be tailing you on that for sure. Any other MMA fights or UFC fights you want to break down?
Well, there will be more, but they will be in the MoneyBall Metrics Discord. Those are the 2 free bets I have for you guys. Honestly, usually I don't give out the huge props as free bets, but I think both actually have good value. I don't like to give out these huge long shot props unless I think there's actually a path to them. And both of those actually, I think, are much better paths than the odds would suggest. So that's going to be it for now. But make sure you head over to the Discord because I will be putting a full card in.
I love that. And guys, we will have a big promotion to be announced at the end of the show for the Moneyball Metrics Discord. So if you've not gotten in there, we have a great promotion for you to join us today. That's going to do it for the MMA portion of this show. So let's get our guys, line movers / JD, back in action with the beautiful sunglasses, with the beautiful backdrop. We're pumped to have you on. And Jammer in his normal Steelers Friday attire. I'm going to start with JD. How are you today, my friend?
Man, look here, man. I'm doing great.
Man, it looks beautiful out there. I hope you're enjoying your time. Definitely has a great backdrop, so I'm very jealous. I'm stuck in my apartment today, so definitely very, very jealous of you. Jammer, good to see you today. How are you?
I'm pumped up, ready for the weekend. Steelers got a big matchup. We got some fantastic games to talk about today. There might be a little quack action going on today. I don't know.
Well, we'll get to that in just a minute. We haven't gotten to the comments yet. I didn't want to bring all the comments up when we had all the boys on screen. Over to Nick Castrucci. Happy Friday, fellas. The VIP and Moneyball Metrics Discord absolutely went off. You guys probably saw the recap already. The Moneyball Metrics team is absolutely killing it. We appreciate you jumping in per usual, Nick. You're always here, and we appreciate it. Joe, another one of our favorites who's here every single day. What's up, Joe? We appreciate you tuning in, brother. Jay Bo, baby, we got that last night. Come on. Great suggestion from Jay in the chat yesterday. He put in there this exact parlay for the Ravens to win outright and the over 47.5. We hit those. The over 52.5 cashed as well, so I was very happy about that. Aiden is in the chat. Ben cashed his MMA max last week. It's going to happen again. Make sure you're in the Moneyball Metrics Discord because this guy does not miss in MMA. That's why we always have to have Ben's free plays at the start of the Friday show because he's absolutely a killer when it comes into that. Jammer, one more question for you. How do you feel about the Steelers trades?
Well, it's a weird feeling because the Steelers really needed a wide receiver, and we go from who was the initial one? There was talks of Devontae Adams, there was talks of Ayuk, there was talks of DK Metcalf. We end up with Mike Williams. It's a nice big body to have. It's definitely not the big name that we wanted, but I'm really excited about Preston Smith, just getting depth on the defensive end and just more bodies to send at the quarterback. Mike Williams, I'm about, but I am a big fan of the Preston Smith signing.
Yeah, they totally needed an edge rusher. They don't have anyone that can do that.
we have about 5 of them now. So.
Right.
But this should help Preston Smith. He's a guy at this point of his career that's going to need help by having double teams on the opposite side of the line. You're going to put him out there on the other side of either Alex Highsmith or TJ Watt. That's going to provide big dividends for him. He should get a lot of sacks because the line will move his way. This should really help out a guy like Preston Smith. And Jammer, I want to ask you, Mike Williams didn't seem like the premier wide receiver target I thought the Steelers were going to get. I know Darius Slayton of the Giants wasn't one, but there was rumors he was going to go there as well. Was there any other receiver you wanted the Steelers to acquire outside of Mike Williams?
So I'm not going to lie. I was more on the train of Adam Thielen. I wanted a guy that can go out there, run routes. Cooper Kupp was obviously the obvious one that I really, really, really wanted, but they were at the high price for him. Him and DK were probably my top 2, but the high price that they were asking for those guys, and Cooper Kupp being at the age that he is. I like the big body for Mike Williams. I'm pretty sure his average, his average reception yards per catch for the last 5 years is 15 yards a catch. So he's that big, long, deep threat that Russell Wilson's going to love throwing these moon balls to. So I'm excited to see what he got.
I am as well. I think it was a good trade deadline for you guys. I think you added a couple good pieces. Our guy Joe agrees. Steelers do an amazing job at scouting receivers. I think George Pickens will benefit from this as well. This will all in total be better for both sides of the Steelers on offense and defense by the few acquisitions that they did make. But fellas, unfortunately for one of us, there is some unfinished business. And if you're a fan of this show, you know what it is. Let it roll. That was a good one. You really went for it. We appreciate that. Very good.
That was good.
I'm confused. I got to say I'm confused because I've heard people saying quack. It's cluck.
Cluck, quack, schmack, whack, whatever the hell you want to call it, you got to do it on this show. If you lose.
They're 2 very different sounds from 2 different animals. I'm so confused how we're using this interchangeably.
You could do both. Whatever you want to do. It's close enough to where I don't care. JD, do you care about it?
All I know is we're going to find one again today, and I am not doing it a third time in a row. I'm going to win one finally.
Listen, where's my guy Nick Castrucci? Where are you, bro? In the YouTube, where are the comments? Every time I lose one of these quacker bets, you love to rub it in my face. I haven't heard from you in a couple days, my brother. Alpha's getting hot on these quacks, so we've been doing pretty good. Oh, no, we're not doing that. Hot Toddy is suggesting a move. You want us to moo? Come on, bro. I don't need to be on camera mooing. I'm already a cow as it is. I don't need to be on camera moving. That's the last thing I know. One more before we get into today's breakdown. Hot Toddy also is saying TJ Watt down to minus 135 on DPOY. We called that. We called that all year. This show has been all over TJ Watt. He did get a little bit of luck, to be completely honest. If Aiden Hutchinson didn't go down, it was a true race. It was becoming really close between the two of them, but TJ Watt is staying healthy. The best ability you can have is availability. You need to be out there, so that is an ability to have. Good for TJ Watt. He deserved it last year. I believe he got screwed. He should get it this year. Looks like it's definitely his award to lose as of right now. But fellas, that's going to do it for the intro today. It's time to get into our first bet of the day. So let's move over into the college basketball segment. We're only going to be covering one college basketball game today, but I'm sure you guys can figure out which game it's going to be. We're going over North Carolina versus Kansas. Biggest game of the night. It'll be tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN2. North Carolina is coming in 1-0 on the year. They're 9th in the nation. Going to Kansas, taking on the Jayhawks, who are number 1 in the nation. We're going to start with you, Jammer. What do you like about this game?
So I'm not really the biggest NCAA basketball guy, but I do know that this Kansas team is unstoppable at home. I had to look it up. 91-5 the last 6 seasons at home. I know they have a lot of returning pieces, especially Hunter Dickinson. I know they got a lot of seniors, a lot of graduate students on that starting lineup. I just think it's just too tough of a game early on in the season for this UNC team. I know that they've moved a lot of pieces. They obviously have RJ Davis and some of the pieces from last year, but I know that they have a couple transfers coming in and a couple young guys starting. So for me, I think if this matchup would have been later in the year, I think it would have been a closer line. But with Kansas being at home, returning all these pieces and having, that seniority over this young UNC team, I think it's going to be tough. I know the 7.5 seems like it's a lot, but there's a big advantage to being this early in the season and being at home for Kansas. So I like them minus 7.5.
I respect it. Let's keep it moving. Before we go over to Ben, we do have Tar Heel in the comments. We're talking about the Tar Heels. We might as well bring in Tar Heel, who's saying Tar. He doesn't feel great about the game. UNC is playing so small. I definitely understand that. Ben, what do you like in this one?
The point I was literally about to open with before seeing Tar Heel's comment was my biggest worry in this game is rebounding and stopping Hunter Dickinson. Yeah, RJ Davis is coming back for UNC, which is awesome. He's one of the best players in the nation. Unfortunately, Hunter Dickinson came back for Kansas, and he's one of the best players in the nation as well. Yeah. And he's an absolute mountain. And North Carolina, that was kind of the issue in the offseason. They have great guard play. They might have top 5 guard play in the nation. It's going to be down low, and especially in a game against Kansas, who is huge. Down low, there's going to be a big issue with KJ Adams coming back for a 5th year. You have DeJuan Harris, who's also returning. He's a senior as well. And then they brought in Zeke Mayo, and I loved that because he absolutely murdered the Summit League last year. He was the best player. He pretty much carried South Dakota State to the NCAA tournament last year. He was pretty much their entire team. He's an absolute unreal shooter. He went 5 for 8 from 3 in the first game of the season. I understand that was against Howard. The fact that he can nail those big shots on a big team like Kansas, that's huge for them because they arguably have great guard play as well with him now. So I think I think UNC is going to be a little bit lower than number 9. I just don't have them top 10 right now. I think they should be ranked, but I think they're getting a little bit too much love from the AP here. And Kansas, I think, covers. I do. I think they're going to win by double digits.
2 for 2 on Kansas. JD, you making it 3 for 3? What do you got?
Yeah, y'all should said that very well. Size, and actually, this game here is going to be an issue. Also, just UNC in general, because of their size and just how they're playing. I need to just watch them actually like a few games here, just see how everything with them works. I have them as a not necessarily a bet against team, but definitely not a bet on team here. For actually probably the first like 4 to 5 games. saying that, I personally make this number at a 7.5, which is, I think, pretty much right actually
Spot
where
on.
Right on
books
it. Right
have
on.
it here. But Kansas would be the only way that I could lean here. But I will say, as far as my numbers go, I do have this total at around the 154 mark. This total is just getting bet up and bet up. I believe it's up to 160, maybe even a little bit higher now.
Yep.
If anything, if I had to make a play, I would probably wait until almost tip off, and then the total should actually be its highest then, and then I would play the under. I'm not sure if I'm personally going to be doing that, but if I had to, that actually would be my play.
Well, you beat me to it, JD. My play of this game is going to be the under 160 here. 80-80 is the score to get to 160, and I just don't see this game getting there. This is going to be a high-intensity game. It's the 1 versus 9 teams in the nation. They will be playing good defensively. North Carolina will struggle pretty mightily on the boards. You guys did put that perfectly, but I do think that leads to more stoppages of possessions, less second opportunities, which will lead to this game going under. I just don't see this game having 160 points in it, so give me the under. Not my favorite play of the day. It's not going to make my best bets, but I do think this game does go under that total. Let's keep it moving, fellas. So the next segment that we're going to go over today is going to be our NBA segment. We do only have one game we're breaking down, but we all feel like it is the best game of the day, which is going to be the Warriors taking on the Cavs. Warriors coming in 7-1 on the year. They're 5-0 on the road. They're coming in off an absolutely massive win over the Boston Celtics. On the other side, the Cavaliers have not lost to anybody. They're coming in 9-0 on the year. They're 4-0 at home. And when you take a look at the injury report here, both teams will basically have their full rosters. The only questions for Golden State, game time decision with Draymond Green, game time decision with Brandon Pajemski. I think those guys should be able to go. And the guys who are out for Cleveland are the guys you expect to be out. Max Strus, who's out until at least December, and Amani Bates, who's also out to at least December. Jammer, one of the best NBA minds on Twitter, on X, on Bluebird, whatever the hell you call the stupid app nowadays. What do you like in this game? Break it down for us.
Man, this is an exciting game. We've talked about the Cavs a few times this season, and every single time we're like, this is their second best start to the season. Well, now we're at their best start to their franchise career in 9-0. What is it? Warriors 7-1. I mean, they've been playing out of their mind, especially 4 or 5 games without Steph Curry. I don't really know how they're doing it. We've talked about the Cavs before. They're top 5 in basically every single offensive and defensive category you can look at. So for me, this is a Cavs play. You got to take the Cavs -4.5 at home. Warriors are on a 5-game road stretch here. This will be the 4th road game in a row, and they have a tough one coming up after this versus the Oklahoma City Thunder, who I've said multiple times is going to be the top team in the West. So this is a tough stretch for the Warriors right now. Celtics, Cavs, Thunder. That is a rough 3-game stretch right there, and then they got to follow it up with the Mavs, Grizzlies. This is a tough one. I don't really even know how the Warriors made it to this point in the season at the record that they are right now. I mean, all the stats back up the Cavs. They have the names. They have the defensive mind. They got the offensive weapons. It's Cavs all day for me. Cavs -4.5. It might not even be close tonight unless the Warriors are dropping threes with Steph Curry and Buddy Hield. But for me, it's going to be a defensive battle, and I think that the Cavs are just going to destroy them.
Do you think Buddy Hield is going to come back down to reality and play a little bit more like the last couple of years Buddy Hield we've seen? Because we all know he went to Philadelphia. He did not provide much. He had one playoff game where he went off, but outside that one game, he really did not do much for that team. Now he's in Golden State where he needs to be a big player for this team, and he's been producing. Do you think that's going to continue? We talked about that, JD, I believe it was a week or two ago. We gave out the ladder on Buddy Hield threes up until 7. He hit 7 that game. So we are loving what he's doing. It's paying big dividends for us. But what do you think?
So I talked about someone similar, Dennis Schroeder, the other week. They're both shooting 50% above on their field goal percentage and from 3. I mean, to do that this many games in a row for Buddy Hield being 50-50 from the field and from 3, I mean, that's just insane. But 21 points in 26 minutes played. I'm having a feeling that he's going to be in that starting lineup here soon. I don't know how they'll work that in, but he's been playing out of his mind. I think he does have to come down to earth soon, but you got to ride the hot hand, man.
I definitely agree there. Looks like we lost JD for a minute, so we're going to power on without him. Joe is in here saying Buddy is a system player. I agree with you. I agree with you, but he's in a system that works for him right now, so I definitely understand why it's working in that system. Diamond Dog saying shooter shoot. Confidence is massive. Absolutely. He has found that he is looking fantastic. I'm going to go into my play on this game. I'm all over the Cavs here. I think the Cavs are going to be able to easily get it done. Like Jammer said, it's the end of a long road stretch for the Warriors, so I do think there will be a little bit of regression. It's taken a lot out of them to be here, and they only did play at the Celtics a couple nights ago, so they had to travel over back to Cleveland, and that's going to take a little bit of a toll on them. And Cleveland defensively has been playing some great basketball. Yeah. Darius Garland has been playing some great basketball. It's just really hard to go against this Cleveland team right now. So give me the Cavs at -4.5 at -105. Definitely think that's the best play on this game. JD, welcome back, my brother. What do you got in this one?
Yeah, not sure what happened there. I didn't hear any of those.
So you're on solo duty for the Cavs Warriors right now.
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, as I'm sure, like all y'all said, both teams are actually playing very well. The Warriors are just getting it done. I did not expect them to actually be doing this. I mean, actually, like against the spread, these are the two best teams. I think the Warriors are 7-1. I believe the Cavs are 8-1. To me, if you just look at numbers, though, if you just break down numbers, this line for the Cavs is actually short. So if you just look at the numbers, I would actually have to back the Cavs. This is one of those games, like I said, the Warriors are just figuring out ways to get it done, though. This should be a really good game. The problem with me for the Warriors, if you were trying to take points, is they're playing some really tough teams currently. They just played the Celtics, and then I believe they played the Thunder on Sunday. So this is a really, really tough week for them here.
Yep.
So, I would have to lean Cavs, but I'm gonna have to stay off there.
So we have all three of us at least lean or are taking the Cavs. Ben, what do you got?
Yeah. How about a little rematch of basically a 4-year run in the finals where these two teams were basically going at it every year? It feels like the best matchup with how these two teams are playing. And the Warriors are definitely a bigger surprise than the Cavs, because I don't think too many people were surprised by the Cavs' start this year, considering that they have all their healthy pieces actually playing now. I mean, last year, it's so many guys missing time. Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Jared Allen, like all missing time. Evan Mobley, too. And now they're all healthy, and we see what we kind of saw in flashes last season where they would go on winning runs when they were healthy, but none of them could stay healthy at the same time. So not necessarily super surprised by this start for them. And they've been playing some great basketball. What I am more surprised with is actually the total in this game. You have the Warriors, who you guys talked about it. They're on a stretch of a road trip where in a span of 6 days now, they're playing in their fourth city. They're traveling pretty much all week. Might have a little bit of tired legs. They're also playing in a big game. With how these two teams are record-wise and how big of a game this is, even early on in the season, because, we're still only less than 10 games in, but this one feels like a pretty big heavyweight matchup. So I'm more surprised that this total's at 231, and I'm going to be on the under here. I get that the Cavaliers have the best rated offense right now, and they're number one in scoring, but both of these teams have top 10 defenses, and I'd say that the Warriors are actually more of a defensive team than I think we've ever seen. And I think that's why they're starting out so well. They have Brandon Podziemski, who might not play tonight. But he was one of the best defenders last year as a rookie. He was led in charges, drawn, and all that kind of stuff. They feel like a very good defensive team, and I know that the Cavaliers are. So I'm a little surprised this total's at 230 or above 230, and I'm going to be on the under.
I respect that. I do like the under there as well. If I were to take a total, I would take the under, so I definitely understand why. One question before we move, actually two posts until we move into the NFL segment. Josh is putting here, good timing to have Mrs. LM here. Josh is saying, happy Friday, fellas. We got to know, is JD acquiring more animal for his basement collection? We know, Josh, JD is on vacation right now. This is not his normal basement spot. But, JD, question for you. Are you going to be acquiring more animals for the basement collection?
Not actually this time.
Not this time. Excellent. Yes. In the future then. And then one more question we have about this game before we get to NFL is from Joe, which is how do we feel about hedging this one? Cavs -4 up early and then taking the Warriors live. You're risking a lot doing that.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know about that. If the Warriors go down early, I feel like, especially at the end of this road trip, and they play the Thunder up next, they might just kind of not give up or anything, but it just feels like it could get out of hand if the Cavs are going to go up early. So I don't know.
I respect that for sure. Respect that for sure. One more. Oh, my voice is.
Hey, I'm going to interrupt for a minute. We are having some technical difficulties. The Twitter is not showing that we're live. I just got off the phone with one of the other owners. So if you are having any issues going in, go ahead and log out if you're having any recording issues. Unfortunately, because I can't get in the middle of a stream, we are stuck with what we have currently for that side of it. But I did want to let everyone know there are some technical difficulties happening, and I'm super sorry about that. We will be sharing the show again after it's over to correct any problems so you can see it after the fact also.
Awesome. Well, there's the update from the producer, Mrs. LM. We appreciate that. That's a huge help. We were kind of wondering what was going on. But there we go. We're getting some great comments as well. Corey Phillips is here. My guy Calvin saying, let's go, Jammer, under 0026 alpha. I have no idea what that means, brother. Going to need a little...
It just doesn't register on Twitter for some
There
reason.
we go. That's why. There we go. Perfect. Now Nick wants to chime in. Now Nick wants to chime in. Thanks for coming, Nick. We appreciate you, brother. Let's move right along, fellas, into the NFL portion of this show. Jammer, it's your team. We got the Steelers. We got the Commanders. What do you got? Big game.
Oh, man. What team am I going to be on in this game? That's a tough one. Am I going to be on the Steelers with Mike Tomlin, who's got a 24-5 all-time record versus rookie quarterbacks? Am I going to be on Mike Tomlin, who's won 7 straight games following a bye? Am I going to be on the Mike Tomlin-led team that just made 2 big trades at the trade deadline? You're damn right I'm going to be back in the Steelers. I do like a +3 here. I like getting the extra field goal range there. You know, I might buy up to 3.5. I've been seeing on the markets it's going down to +2.5. I might have to buy that extra point just to get that little bit of security because you know how these Steelers, they love to keep the game close. It's usually never more than a field goal, especially in a tight game like this where, I mean, this is probably as big as a must-win game for this Steelers team as any game will be because their schedule upcoming, they have 4 straight division games versus the Ravens, the Browns, the Bengals, and then back against the Browns. And then following that, they have Eagles, Ravens, Chiefs. And the Chiefs game is 4 days after playing the Ravens. Like we got a tough schedule coming up. So if we want to maintain this lead in the AFC North, this is about as big as a must-win game as we'll have all season long. I was kind of going through the schedule last night, and I initially predicted that the Steelers would lose this game and that it would come down to a Week 18 matchup versus the Bengals to make the playoffs. But then I kind of woke up from that dream and I realized that there's no chance that they're losing this game following a bye. The way that they're playing with Russell Wilson, I mean, that offense has been reinvigorated. Multiple 400-plus yard games on offense, multiple times scoring 30-plus. Like the Steelers have just not seen this in a long time from the offense since the Triple B days. But they're rolling right now. They're the hot team. The defense has obviously been what they've always been, but the offense is reinvigorated. We have not seen them moving the ball like they have in a long time, and I think you just got to keep riding this train. And outside of the Steelers +3, you got to attack Washington's rush defense. They've allowed the 4th most rushing yards on the season. And honestly, outside of Derrick Henry and Kyron Williams, Najee Harris has been a monster lately. I know he's got Jaylen Warren kind of nipping at his ankles, you know, that little toddler out there. But Najee Harris is the guy that can get it done at all 3 spots, you know, first down, 3rd and short, in the goal line. He's their guy that they're feeding the ball to. He's had multiple 100-yard games. I think this number is way too low at 62.5. So I'm loving the Steelers +3, and I'm also a big fan of Najee Harris rushing over 62.5, and just throw in anytime touchdown there. It's way too close to even. It might even be plus money on some books. I'm loving a big game out of him and Russ come Sunday.
Well, a lot of your Steelers homies in chat are agreeing with you, like our boy Nick Castrucci. He's saying that the Steelers will shut down Jaden Daniels. I could tell by the facial expressions that JD made, as well as the facial expressions that I made, that we disagree with you, Nick, but more to come on that. Other comments here. Hot Toddy, did Jammer just say, I have a dream? I did not hear that. He may have. He may have. Jack, I see your comment about Keenan Allen. We'll get to that at the end of the show, I promise. Joe is saying Russ is the perfect game manager for this situation. Calvin is saying great points there made by Jammer. Love that there. All that being said, great points, Jammer. Love what you said there. Too bad it's the Commanders this week, -2.5. I'm all over the Commanders to get it done here. They are the best team in the NFL at covering the spread. They're coming into this game 7-1, covering at 88% of their games. And one thing I like to look at is how teams do on the expected line. They are out covering the line by 8.5 points per game, which is second in the NFL. So no matter what, these odds makers keep thinking about this Commanders team. They keep exceeding the expectations and beating the cover by more than a touchdown on average every single week. There is a few injuries that make me a little hesitant that I kind of want to wait on, but not too hesitant that I don't still love this play. Brian Robinson is a true questionable. Austin Eckler looked great replacing him last week, but I do believe it is a pretty big downgrade from Brian Robinson to go to Austin Eckler. So I am hoping we are going to be able to see that Brian Robinson was able to practice today. But even if he doesn't, I'm still very confident in this Commanders team at home. They have not lost at home. They've been fantastic there all year long. And despite what Nick and Jammer and all the other Pittsburgh boys are saying, Jaden Daniels should still be able to have a big day. He's only had 2 interceptions on the entire season, and I expect this Washington offense to pick up exactly where they left off. I think we're going to get a big Washington win. They should win this game by double digits. That's right, Jammer. Double digits. JD, what do you got?
You know, a lot of what Jammer said was actually really good and really actually spot on here. The Steelers should be able to actually move the ball here. They should be able to actually score points. But Jammer and Nick in the chat there, I really hate to tell you all this.
Rev it up, baby! Rev it up!
Bring it on.
The Steelers defense, it is good, but they are overrated.
Woo!
And actually, Jaden Daniels, he is the person that is going to show the world actually that.
Yes.
So while I do lean the actual Commanders' way, I actually have to, but the over here. I have a lot of people that actually think this number is really high, and I don't. I actually think it's low. At a few books right now, it's actually even under 45. You can actually get a 44.5.
Wow.
And I do know it is supposed to rain. It's looking like we're actually not going to have much wind though. So I absolutely love this. I expect this game to be over this.
Love that. Love that.
On the Commanders, but you're going on the total.
Yes.
Ben, please talk some sense into Jammer. What do you got?
I can't because I absolutely love the Steelers.
I was going to say, I was about to strangle you if you're going to say something.
Well, thanks for showing up, Ben. Just kidding. Please continue.
Washington very well could be the worst 7-2 team out there of all the winning teams. And I mean that in the sense that, A, they should be 6-3. They got the luckiest Hail Mary I've ever seen in my life where the defender was turning around and, taunting the fans before tipping it literally into a receiver's hands. So they should be 6-3 to begin with and take a loss against Chicago. The next week, they win by 5 points against the Giants. They haven't played a team in forever. And the two good teams they've played all year, they played Baltimore and they played Tampa. They lost both games. They haven't beat a good team. They beat the Browns, the Deshaun Watson Browns. I guess the Cardinals win was really good, but it's like the Cardinals don't really have an identity. Yeah, they're playing pretty good, but I'd say that's their best win all season. And since then, they played just some weak competition this year and just haven't gotten a ton of great wins. Even in their wins, they have some blowouts, but not a great. I don't know. I just don't see it with this Washington team. Jaden Daniels is playing out of his mind. Don't get me wrong. I am not discounting anything he's done this year. But what does Jaden Daniels love to do? He loves to run. Guess who absolutely stops running quarterbacks? The Steelers defense. They are giving up an average of 7 rushing yards to opposing quarterbacks per game. That is second in the NFL. That edge, their edge rushers set the edge so well you can't escape from them. They will not give up rushing yards, and they just brought in another guy on the D line. with Preston Smith, who's going to help out. And you're talking about some big names. I don't think the Steelers defense is necessarily overrated, like JD said.
I don't know where that came from.
Like their secondary is really good, but you can't argue that they have a top 3 defensive line in the NFL, if not top 2, maybe even 1. So I think that they're going to kind of slow down the Jaden Daniels rushing game. I think he's going to go under on rushing yards in this game. Brian Robinson, that Alpha brought up, he's a true questionable. If he can't go, we saw it kind of take an element, a little bit of a step out of their game. I really think this is a Pittsburgh game. Russell Wilson's played so well. Najee, with the 2 games with Russell Wilson, has rushed for over 100 yards. He's looking like a machine because that passing game, they finally have a quarterback that can open up the passing game. You can't just stack the box against the Steelers now. So yeah, I think this is all pointing to a Steelers outright win. Also, Mike Tomlin has won 7 straight games off a bye week. They're coming off a bye. One of the best coaches in the NFL off a bye preparing teams. I think this is absolutely a Steelers outright win.
JD
right,
doesn't like
first of all, you just told me that the Commanders have played nobody, and then you're talking about the Steelers' last 2 games, right? They have the same opponent. They both played the Giants. So I don't know how the Giants could be bad on one side and good on the other. They're trash either way.
They won by more.
Jesus. And then it's the Jets. You're talking about teams that they could run against. The Jets are
the Jets are supposed to have one of the best secondaries in football right now, top 5 secondary, and they put up 37.
And they don't, though. And they don't. They're what?
We'll be talking about the Jets here in a second.
The Jets are 3-6. And in that game, yes, the Steelers did blow them out. The Jets are the worst rush defense in the NFL. They can't tackle anybody. So Najee Harris running over the Giants and the Jets in these 2 weeks has shown me absolutely nothing. Just going to be honest. I'm still a big Steelers backer this year. But this Commanders team has shown me something different. They look like they're a real threat in the NFC. They're going to win the NFC East. I can confidently say that as well. And I think this is a legitimate team. The Steelers are good too, but they're running into a buzzsaw right now in this Washington offense. JD, do you agree with me?
You know what? Yes. And looking up something here. Really,
is this the cluck bet?
I'm so down.
Hang on. Give me an actual specific cluck bet.
Yeah, JD does
2.5.
Into here.
Hang on.
2.5.
Since this Steelers defense is so good, let's do a cluck bet on the Commanders team total over.
I'm in.
Okay.
I don't even know what it is.
24.5. What's it at?
I was about
24.5. There's no way it's at 24.5.
I'm actually seeing a 23.5.
Let's go.
Hey.
Yeah, I would take the Steelers have given up more than 20 points once this season. One time. And I get they haven't faced a violent schedule either, but they did face the Falcons in week 1. They gave up 10 points. We've all seen what that offense has done this year.
Dude.
Great.
I'm so in for that. Are we in?
Come on, Ben. Get in here.
All right, I'm in. Me and JD undefeated at these, Ben, on a losing streak. Let's see.
I'm 2-0.
Well, you're about to be 2-1. Let's keep it moving, fellas. We still have 2 games we're going to be breaking down today. The next one breaking down is that terrible New York Jets football team. They're 3-6, 1-4 on the year, going into Arizona, taking on the Cardinals, who are a surprising 5-4 and 3-2 at home. Taking a look at the injury report, there's a lot. There's a lot on the injury report for both teams. For the Cardinals, James Conner, their starting running back, looking like a true questionable. LJ Collier, one of their better defensive ends. Jonah Williams is in IR. He is eligible to come back, but I do not believe he will this game. On the other side for the Jets, Ashton Davis has still not practiced this week, the starting safety. And Morgan Moses, who is one of their better offensive linemen, is a true questionable as well. You can throw in Michael Carter II, as well as Solomon Thomas. Both guys, true questionables for the Jets as well. Jammer, this could be the injury bowl. A lot of guys not playing. What do you like in this one?
Man. So Kyler Murray was my fantasy quarterback, and I had to take him out of the starting lineup because this Jets defense just shuts down opposing quarterbacks. I mean, it's just scary what they've been doing out there. Obviously, you listed off all those injuries, but I'm going to be back in the 45-year-old Aaron Rodgers, the ageless wonder. He's been getting the work with Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams. Obviously, he's got that pass with Devontae Adams, but ever since Devontae showed up, Garrett Wilson's been popping off. He's been getting a lot of catches, a lot of yards. He's got that extra attention on the other side that's really helping him kind of get to that next level. And I'm loving what I'm seeing from the Jets. I know that they had a slow start to the season. Obviously, not having Hassan Reddick early in the season killed them too, but he's been getting back in there, getting those reps. I'm liking what I'm seeing from the offense. I'm gonna have to see the injury report come Sunday, but this is looking like a Jets -1.5 to me. I don't know about you guys. What do you guys think?
Ben?
Yeah, this game is going to be the one that Alpha presses the button on for me because it's just, you already mentioned all the injuries. James Conner is a true questionable. I think he's actually a big key to this game because you mentioned it, Alpha, actually, when we were talking about the last game. The Jets can stop the pass. They can't stop the run, and Connor's been very good for them. And Kyler Murray, even with his legs. So if he can't play in this game, I actually think that's a pretty big injury for them if they can't get the run game going. Because if they can't, that secondary is just going to shut them down. But I can't get a good read on this Arizona team. Like, they look very, very good some weeks, and then they look very, very bad some weeks. Kyler Murray has thrown over 250 yards twice this season, and one of them, I think, was the first game of the year, either first or second, and then he's only thrown for more than 250 one other time other than that. So, and then even their defense, sometimes they'll show up, sometimes they'll just absolutely disappear. I just can't get a good read on them. And then you have the Jets, who it looks like they're starting to heat up. Devontae Adams has had a few weeks to kind of learn some routes, kind of learn the system. But to that credit, they beat the Texans last week, who also had a hospital list of injuries, down two of their best receivers. And then, like, you kind of give Stroud not that many guys he can even throw the ball to, except for like Dalton Schultz and Tank Dell. So I don't know how much credit you can really put into that win. I don't know. This game's just too iffy for me.
Yeah, I definitely think it's iffy as well. I lean the Jets. I'll keep it short and sweet. No official play for me. I may have something when we get closer to Sunday, when we get more of the injury news. But as of right now, with this game basically being a pick'em, I definitely lean the Jets. You guys know how I feel about this Jets team all year. They've definitely underperformed. But a couple more wins, and they really can get back in the race. They had a very impressive win over the Texans last week on Halloween. I think we see them carry it over. But until I get a little bit more injury news about this Jets offensive line, especially with Morgan Moses, a couple other guys, I am going to be holding off. So no play for me as of right now. JD? Uh-oh. He's turning. He's just somehow flipped.
He turned sideways going around the room.
JD, you got us?
I don't think he can hear us. There you go.
Well, he will be back. And Diamond Dog is saying this is the most entertaining show he has watched in a while. We appreciate you, brother. We try to make this as fun as we can. We all genuinely like each other. We are all genuine friends. And we love getting on here, talking sports. Some of the people on the show are very good at what they do. Some of them are not. That's all I'm going to say there. I'm just kidding, but y'all know what we mean. And that's perfect to get us to JD for the Jets and Cardinals. JD, if you are with us, what do you think about the Jets and the Cardinals?
Man, yeah, this whole stream today, I don't know what is going on.
Almost like you're
good news, though. Our friends, our viewers are enjoying it. We're still giving them the best show possible. We appreciate you, Diamond Dog.
Awesome. Awesome. We're on the Jets and Cardinals, right?
Yep.
Okay. As most people know, Jets games, I have not been actually betting those here for 4 to 5 weeks now. Here, I don't think I'm going to start back. I will have to say, just like you said, I mean, both actually teams here are like really banged up. And just as far as numbers go, I do have the Jets favored by I have them favored by actually 1.7. The Cardinals started out, I believe they actually were 2-point favorites, and the line is completely flipped. So that to me says a whole lot. So this would be a Jets play or either actually pass. I'm probably going to wait until Sunday and just kind of see where everything is. If the Jets, if they stay where they are, or if they even become a little bit bigger of an actual favorite, I actually might play them though.
Yeah, we're all in the same boat, JD. I kind of said the same thing, too, that I need to get a little bit more information. There's just not enough data right now with the lineups, and with this being such a pick'em, I'm not sure I want to make a play yet, but for a lean as of now, definitely the Jets for me. Let's keep it moving, fellas. We're doing our best to get through this today. Final game we're going to be breaking down is going to be the Lions taking on the Texans. I did just get news. You know, Alpha Schefter is here, constantly looking at the practices. Nico Collins is back. He was just designated from the 21-day to return from the IR. He did practice today, so it is looking like he will be playing in this game on Sunday night. Nico Collins could be back for the big showdown between the Lions and the Texans. Pulling up the injury report here, A lot of guys on it. Taylor Decker for the Lions is a true questionable. Malcolm Rodriguez is a questionable. Then they're the guys we obviously know about. Aiden Hutchinson, Kyle Pecco out for the year, guys. On the other side, Azeez Al-Shahir for the Texans, true questionable. Dameon Pierce, nobody really cares about Dameon Pierce in the year 2024, let's be honest. But then Fatukasi, who's been a fantastic interior defensive lineman for the Texans, is a true questionable. Ben, we haven't started with you. What do you like in this breakdown today?
Yeah, I think the Nico Collins news, I don't necessarily think it's fake or anything. I think he does have a chance to play, but if he does, I think he'll be a decoy, especially in his first game back off a hamstring. It's not like he had a finger injury or something like that. Like, it's a hamstring injury for a guy that relies on explosiveness as a receiver. I think it could be a little bit of a decoy thing where even if he does play some decent snaps, he'll be more to draw some coverage away from guys like Tank Dell, which is exactly where I'm going today because his line is laughably low in this game. You're talking about a guy who last week, without the two other star receivers, Stephon Diggs and Nico Collins, he went out for 120 yards against a very good secondary. And now we're talking about one of the worst secondaries in the league. Literally, they give up the most yards to wide receivers every game. The Lions give up 209 yards to wide receivers, and they also shut down tight ends. They give up the second least amount of yards to tight ends. They give up the most amount of yards to wide receivers. And of course, some of that is because their offense is amazing and electric and like probably the best in the league right now. So the other teams are playing catch up basically the whole game, which is exactly what I expect here. I mean, the Lions are going to score in this game, especially there is so many injuries on that Texans defense that already isn't like the greatest defense in the NFL. So I expect the Lions to score here. But I don't necessarily think that the Texans can't keep it close and kind of keep up and score themselves. And if that happens, it's going to have to start with Tank Dell in this game. So the fact that he's only at 64.5 receiving yards, I think it's a little bit laughable. And I would actually prefer if Nico Collins came back in this game because I think that's going to open it up even more for Tank Dell. But even without him, I think he's still going to clear this line by a lot.
I love that. I'm absolutely going to be tailing you on that. And I do think Tank Dell has a monster performance. Jammer? Oh, quickly before Jammer goes, Hottie Toddy, I see your question about Christian McCaffrey. We have a couple other questions. After we finish the breakdown, we'll answer all the prop questions. Jammer, what you got?
No, I think Ben said it well. I would appreciate if Nico Collins did play this week. My fantasy team really needs him, but I think Ben said it well. Hamstring injuries, they are not one to mess around with.
I agree.
They said maybe with the IR move, pushing him back 4 weeks. So he might be good to go. He might not. He might be the distraction that Ben's talking about. So for me, too many question marks on that side of the field. I'm going to stick with what we do know, and that's that the Lions offense is healthy and they are rolling. And one of the key parts is Jared Goff. He will be playing inside of a dome. We talked about him kind of struggling on the outdoor fields. We kind of saw that last week. But he's back inside of a dome. He's going to be playing inside on that turf. He loves that, and that offense is rolling. So for me, I'm going to be tailing Jared Goff over 1.5 passing touchdowns. It's at plus money on some books. Some of them are right at even. But they just have so many offensive weapons. And the Houston Texans have only allowed 5 rushing touchdowns on the season. They're second most in passing touchdowns allowed, just behind the Ravens, who passed him last night with Joey Burr going crazy. Still sad that the Ravens pulled that one out. I really wish the Bengals would have got that 2-point conversion at the end, but it's okay with me. So I do like Texans defense kind of shut down Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. I know that's going to be a tough thing to do. The aerial attack with Jared Goff getting 3, maybe even 4 passing touchdowns this game. So give me him over 1.5 passing touchdowns.
And on the screen, you could see here, Jammer, we have a question from Diamond Dog. As you're talking about Jared Goff, what do you think about him for MVP? Right now, before you do talk on it, Jared Goff is coming in 4th best odds. Well, not best odds, lowest odds for the MVP. It goes Lamar Jackson at plus 170, Josh Allen plus 340, Patty Mahomes, which I don't understand, plus 500, and then Jared Goff at plus 800. So he is coming in with the 4th lowest odds. You think it might be worth a shot on him? And by the way, the person tied with Goff is Jaden Daniels at plus 800.
Yeah, I mean, Lamar right now is just doing so much that it's almost a one-person race at this point. It's like if he slips, I mean, then it's really up for grabs. But Jared Goff's just not doing enough for me. Like there was a game where he had 10 passing attempts. Like I mean, I know he's hardly throwing any incompletions. He can't have more than 5 INTs on the season. This man has just been protecting the ball, getting wins, putting up points, not necessarily relying on the run game, but like it is a big part of that offense. And I think for Lamar, he is the heart and soul of that offense. And it's just a one-man race for me at this point. I think he is being looked at, but it's not really close in my opinion.
About the fact that Patrick Mahomes is lower odds
I know
MVP right now than Jared Goff. Like
it's the record. It's
it has to be. But like pulling it up here, I thought that Mahomes had one more pick than touchdown this year. That could have been before last week. Let me pull it up now. It was before last week. He's at 11-9. He's at 11-9, which is not great. But then you take a look at a guy like Jared Goff, who great point in the chat by Joe to bring it up. He's got 14 touchdowns to only 4 interceptions. So I mean, he's got the numbers. I think it may be worth a shot. Joe, I see your question here. No, Henry is a lock to win the OPOY. That's the running back award. I don't think that'll have anything to do with this at all, but I do understand why you would go that way. Let me quickly go over my play on this game, guys, because it is a best bet for me. I'm all over the Lions. I am all over this Lions team. They should be able to get it done rather easily. Last week, I ended up taking the over in the Lions-Packers game because the line was so short. I thought the Packers would keep it close. This Lions team is better than anyone in the NFC. I'm pretty confident in saying that. They should be the team to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. I think they're going to continue to cruise this year. And this Texans team, coming off a big loss to the Jets, really hasn't shown you anything. I mean, you like to take a look at common opponents, and we just talked about Green Bay, as last week the Lions steamed them at Green Bay. Well, a couple weeks ago, the Texans lost to Green Bay 3 weeks ago. You take a look at the teams the Texans have beaten. They beat New England. They beat the Colts by 3. They beat Buffalo, which was a good win, but that was quite a while ago. I just think this Lions team is the better team. They've beaten good competition all year long. They beat the Vikings. They've beaten some other good teams as well, like Green Bay. Give me the Lions. It's definitely a best bet for me. Ben, do you agree?
Yeah. I already covered this one.
Yep. JD, do you agree?
Yeah, let's just go back to golf here. Those odds to me, now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, they really don't make much sense here. When you look at his past 6 games, as far as his stats, he's the best QB in any 6-game stretch ever. Not
It's
actually this
insane.
season, rather ever. Okay, so no, he is not getting enough love, and he definitely should be. Now going back to this game, yes, as everybody says, this actually is a dome game, and you put this Lions actually offense on actually that type of field, and they are going to score points. They are not crazy. They're not going to be stopped. Texans, the only way I see them is them trying to do more of a run heavy game here, and trying to slow the game down. That's the only way that I can see them staying actually in this. So the under, I actually definitely lean there. But to me, just like I've been saying for weeks now, the market just cannot get this Lions team priced right.
Yep.
And this once again,
Tar Heel agrees.
Yeah, they literally can't. I mean, what actually? I believe ATS. I think they're 7-1.
Yep, they are.
And when you have a team like that, that's normally a team that I normally like to go against, because the market has usually gone way too far the actually other way. This is one of those very odd teams where I just don't think that actually they have them right yet. So them at actually -3.5 here. I am going to take those. That actually is going to be a best bet.
Let's go.
Yeah,
Me too.
I probably their team total over. I'm probably going to look at that too.
Mm-hmm.
The famous JD team total over. Everybody knows it's an absolute home run all the time. He hits those more than anybody I've seen on the freaking internet. Guys, over to some prop questions that we have before we get into the meat and potatoes of the rest of what we do here, the best bets in the big promotion of Moneyball Metrics. We have a question. Jack is saying that he loves Keenan Allen receiving yards this week. Thoughts? Jack, I absolutely hate Keenan Allen receiving yards every week right now. I don't know if you saw the game last week. He dropped every pass his way. He was not able to really do anything. And it does seem that for that Bears offense, that Roma Dunze is the true number one. Keenan has just not earned the reps this year. He's been dropping everything. I'm only this passionate about Keenan Allen because I reached for him in my big fantasy football league and have been hurting all year, but from his lack of production. So I am somebody who's not taking anything on Keenan Allen. He's done nothing but disappoint me this year. Jameer, what do you think? Jammer.
I mean, you said it right. That Rome Odunze, man, he is really growing in that offense. You know, he kind of had the slow start. You kind of expect that from the rookie, especially with a rookie quarterback. But there's too many weapons in that offense. You don't know who's going to pop off. I typically try and avoid those situations where it's like you got a 1A, 1B, 1C kind of situation there with DJ Moore, Rome, and Keenan. So for me, that's a stay away.
He's also had so many lingering injuries this year. He just hasn't been able to stay healthy too. And I think that really has hampered his game, has not really let him hit his full potential. Ben, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree I think you guys put it perfectly. Nothing else I can really add. You guys said it well.
Mm-hmm.
JD, I'm assuming you agree?
Yeah. Sorry, just had a
You got a bee
spider
attack?
on me.
That's
here.
okay. That's okay.
Yeah, man.
This is why people love this show today. You don't know what the hell is going to happen today. We don't either. So it's a lot of fun for everybody, guys. We appreciate you all tuning in, staying with us, and hanging out with us on this Friday afternoon. Fellas, I think that's the last player prop we have. No. I forgot one. I promised Hot Toddy I would go over thoughts on McCaffrey this week. So McCaffrey is back. I have all the practice squad reports today of guys that are practicing, guys that are not practicing, and it does look like he will be playing this weekend. He was able to go through practice this morning. So I think he's going to have a decent week. It's still Christian McCaffrey. The amount of stem cells that have been pumped into his body should have recovered him pretty quickly. And, I mean, it's okay to talk about that. We all know that he went to Germany for that treatment. They're the only ones that you can legally get that treatment over there. And for that injury, that's exactly why he had to go over there. Seems like it did work. Seems like he should be able to give it a go. And if he does go, I think he's definitely worth putting back in the fantasy world. It's insane what they're doing with his touchdown prop already. He's minus 300 to score. He may have one leg. They're still going to put Christian McCaffrey to score a touchdown at minus 300. So I'm not going to be taking any betting angles on CMC this weekend. I do have to see how he looks. But if you're a fantasy guy, I would definitely think it could be worth putting him back in the roster for this week.
I have him in my team.
Yeah,
you're putting him back in?
He's back in my lineup too, man.
You have to. If you've survived this long and you're still in a playoff position with him, congratulations. I know a lot of people that are not in that position right now. So hopefully you guys will be able to use him if you both do have him there. And that's going to be the final prop that was in the chat. If you guys have any more, we will cover them, drop them in there. But the next thing we are going to do on this show is go over the before Black Friday sale that you can get with MoneyBall Metrics right now. Guys, for only $220, you get the entire year of all the Cappers plays with MoneyBall Metrics. You will get them directly to your phone. That's the best deal out there. I'm terrible at math off the top of my head. So 220 divided by 12, I'm not going to be able to figure out right now. But it is a very low monthly cost, guys. It is the best promotion that MoneyBall Metrics has ever offered. Seriously, if you're not in there and you've always been curious what it's like to win with us, get in the Discord. It really is the best Discord out there. It's the most fun environment. We're in there answering any questions you guys have and giving you our best plays. So make sure you guys DM MoneyBall Metrics, tap the link in the pinned tweet, get in the before Black Friday sale. This is by far the best sale I have ever seen MoneyBall Metrics offer. So make sure you guys do get in there. Let's check the comments to see if we have any more props. Joe saying Henry and McCaffrey, basically, they're the same thing right now. They're the same thing. They're both getting the same odds. So Henry is getting less.
Someone even be plus money.
No, you can parlay that. It's like a minus 170.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous right now. You have to find other angles than betting these guys to score touchdowns. Or you can look at them to bet to score two. But, I mean, what was Henry last night? Plus 180 to score two. I mean, the odds are just awful.
What's McCaffrey to score two this week? Because he's like, their offense is so banged up, he very well might.
I mean, do you think they're going to give him a lot of red zone carries?
Plus 230, 2+ touchdowns.
That's horrible. Like there's no value in that. There's no value in that, in my opinion. I'm a guy. You guys know me. I do a lot of 2 touchdown parlays. That's one of my favorite bets you can make. You need to get at least plus 500, plus 600 at a bare minimum as your lowest odds for me to be interested in that, even in a parlay world. Yeah. So for me, that's not even close to the odds I would be putting out there.
No matter what player you are, a lot of things still have to go right to score 2 in a game.
You're so right.
Yeah,
you're so right. Who had it last night? Somebody definitely had a big ticket. Jamar Chase had 2, but wasn't there another one? Or was it just Jamar?
I think it was all a bunch of no-name guys.
Yeah, Andrews got in once.
A bunch of different scores.
Yeah, so I mean, if you had some touchdown parlays last night, you probably had a good night yourself. But fellas, we could do this all day long. Let's get into our best bets And we're going to start with the guy who's going to be clucking next Friday. Jammer, what do you got?
Hey, man, never lost a quack bet so far, so we'll keep that streak going. Yeah, he had 3. He had 59 points in my fantasy league. I mean,
74 in mine. 74 in mine.
Jeez, all right, best bets. I'll lead us off. I talked about it already. Jared Goff over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Some people in chat were saying MVP. For me, it's Lamar, but I mean, Jared Goff has been playing out of his mind. I think someone in chat mentioned some games he's had more passing touchdowns than incompletions. I mean, that's just insane. So I'm loving him over 1.5 passing touchdowns. The weapons are there. Houston defense not allowing the rushing touchdowns. I know they got Montgomery and Jameer and their weapons, but you got to go with what the data is saying. The data is saying they shut down the run, and Jared Goff has the weapons to get those passing touchdowns. So I like that at plus money. If you can get it at even, same deal. And then 2 more. We're going to Steelers Commanders game. We got the quack bet live on that. Over 62.5 rushing yards for Najee Harris. He's been loving the addition of Russ Wilson, adding in that play action game. The line's been getting healthier. I believe we might be getting Zach Frazier back this week, so that's a big plus on the offensive line.
Yeah, it is.
And then the other one, just Steelers plus 3. Probably sprinkle on the money line. I think this is a big game for the Steelers coming off the bye, especially with how Mike Tomlin performs against rookie quarterbacks. I think your team total under, or whatever you guys are rolling with, team total over 23.5. You guys are totally done for. This Steelers defense is going to make JD eat those words about him calling them overrated. We're going to come out. Steelers, I'm predicting 31-10.
31-10. You think the Steelers will have? Do you think they'll have pinned in the locker room JD's comments as bulletin board material?
I'll be sending everything over to Mike Tomlin. They'll have some good bulletin board material for this week.
Good, and they'll be able to see you quack next week. We're all looking forward to it. Quack, clock, whatever the hell you want to do. Mrs. LM said bark earlier. You could do whatever you want. One of those, you're going to make an animal noise. Ben, you can move if you'd like as well. What do you got? What are your best bets?
All right, so I actually had the Jets on there as one of my best bets, but just talking about it and kind of going over it while we were doing it, I'm actually going to take it off live. So it's going to be on the graphic, but I am not super confident in the Jets, so I'm taking them off. And instead, I'm putting on the Cavaliers, Warriors under 231. I can't believe that total is above 230. I get it's the modern day NBA, but that's a very high total for this style of game that I expect will be more defensive than people might think. And then Steelers plus 3, absolutely love them. I will be sprinkling the money line as well. I think that we're going to see how good this defense truly is this week. And then, of course, the last one, I always have a prop on here. Tank Dell, over 64.5 receiving yards. The Lions give up the most yards per game to wide receivers in the NFL with over 200. Some of those have got to go to Tank Dell in this game, you'd think, even if Nico Collins is back. Those are going to be my 3 best bets.
Love that. JD. What you got for best bets today?
Let's go to that Steelers and actually Commanders game. Let's take that over 44.5. And then let's go to the Lions, man. But like I said, the market just cannot get them right still. Give me the Lions at actually minus 3.5.
I am with you, brother.
And actually then also really actually like as far as the sale goes that we have going, you're really not going to beat that, guys. For all the cappers, you're getting sports. You're literally getting every sport. We have cappers for UFC, soccer. I mean, literally everything. And then I have to shout out because I actually know that some of the guys are in here. We have the best VIP chat out there. And that's actually one of the coolest things about actually getting in there with us. We have 3 or 4 guys that actually give out their plays actually like every day too, and they're all good. So yeah, when you actually get in there, you actually get a lot there. So yeah, let's all have some fun.
I did the math. I said when I went over the promo, I couldn't calculate in my head how much it would be per month. It's $18 a month, guys. $18 a month to get in the Discord, to have the best community out there, the best picks possible. You're not going to beat that deal. As I told you guys, I have not seen a discount this large and a deal this good for MoneyBall metrics since I started working with this company. So make sure you guys tap in, get in there, come hang out with us. I really think you guys will like being in the Discord with us. That leaves it all to my best bets. I am with JD. I am on the Lions -3 at 3.5. I think the Lions are going to have a big big performance here. And my final best bet is going to be the Washington Commanders minus the 2.5. Get your phones out, screenshot. Remember this. You know who's winning the clock back. Everyone out there besides Nick Castrucci knows the truth and who's going to win this bet. And that's going to be me and JD. But fellas, that's going to do it for today's show. I'm going to leave this up for a little bit longer. Check any more comments. Joe is asking, so let me get this off here to put it on the screen. Joe is asking, when does that promotion expire? Tomorrow. This is a one-day pre-Black Friday sale, and I know their Black Friday sale. I know what it's going to be, and it's not going to be this discounted. So this is the best price you guys can possibly get in for. So, Joe, get in there. Come join us. It's a ton of fun. And, fellas, like I said, that is going to do it for today's show. We broke down the college basketball game. We broke down the NBA game. And we dove into our NFL picks for the week. I have to say, this has been the most active the chat has ever been. It's been an absolute blast getting to chat with you guys, cover the questions you guys have, and answering, like I said, all of your questions. So keep them coming every day we're on here. We love being able to interact with you guys, answer the questions that you want to hear, because this show is really to give you guys what you want. The bets you want, what you want to hear, what games you want broken down. We're here for you. That's exactly why we do this. Me and JD, at least, every single day. That is why we are here. So, guys, yet again, that's going to do it for the show today. JD, say goodbye to the people.
You know, guys, yeah, just like Alf said, it has been a crazy-ass show. Everything that actually could have happened has. You know, and I have to shout out y'all. You guys, I mean, the links for today's show did not work. So the fact that we still have a few hundred of actually y'all here somehow find your way here. And yeah, the comments are actually going off. So thank y'all so much. And you know, it's been a crazy show, but one thing stays the same. Let's fucking win.
Let's fucking win, baby.
Love
Ben,
it.
Smile, Jammer, start practicing your clucking. We'll see you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend. Peace.
Come on.